You could do some quick keyword research and go, okay, there's 20 searches per month for that across the country, across the US. Okay. So if there's 20 searches per month total, what the chances are we're going to have enough volume here to make this work? Pretty low because it's only 20 searches. It's maybe get 100 searches. So sometimes you can eliminate business off the hop. You can say your market doesn't go to Google to find this product. You have to go and find them.
Welcome to the Simple and Smart SEO Show podcast, where we talk all things brand building SEO, helping you connect with your audience, elevate your visibility, and grow your business. I'm your host, Krista Waddell, here to bridge the gap between SEO strategy and real-world business success by bringing you insights, stories, and conversations from the SEO community and beyond. Whether you're an entrepreneur, marketer, or SEO enthusiast, this is your place to learn, share, and build a brand that stands out. So grab a coffee or your favorite tea, and let's dive into smarter SEO for your business. Welcome back to part 2 of my interview with David Green, founder of devslove.com. You are the ads guy. I love SEO. I love organic. For my audience, entrepreneurs, smaller businesses who may not want to grow and take over the world. They just want the freedom, the flexibility to make the money that they can make and live the life that they want to live. Why do you think busy entrepreneurs should consider Google Ads as part of their marketing strategy?
Yeah, I would say, with nothing else, you get a really good understanding of the market for your service or your product. Google search specifically. I don't know if there's any other better proxy of demand that you can find, that you're getting high intent individuals who are coming in. They are putting what they want into a search bar and they're looking for the results. There's just a lot to learn from specifically Google search. I'll speak to that. So we sit down with clients, and quite frankly, sometimes I look at a business and there's some industries and go, I've done this enough times. I don't think it works for you. The numbers don't work out, or you can't get that high intent individual. So for example, real estate is a tough one to do Google search on. Why? Because someone who's looking to buy a home, if they do go to Google search, they could be anywhere from 2 months to 2 years out from even considering doing it. Like you have no clue where they are. They could just be browsing. They're just nosy what their neighbors are doing. Who knows? There's a number of different reasons someone's on Google search in real estate. So if you're a real estate agent and you're saying, I'm banging on someone coming to Google search and saying, I need a real estate agent, I bet you few people out there have ever really done that search, because you see ads everywhere. You don't need to do a Google search for that. So that's an example. But overall, I think it's a good proxy to test, like, how much of your market's there and can you make it profitable? And quite frankly, you can get data back pretty quickly that tells you if you could win or not.
Okay, so what type of data points are we looking at then to get some great insights that will help us with our business?
Yeah, let's say, for example, you made updates to a site. This is a good example, actually. You made updates to your website and you're trying to test out how's conversion rate going to be affected by these changes. If you send 100 people there from Google search, you're selling Christmas socks. That's your thing. So someone who's typing in Christmas socks for kids, large Christmas socks, probably are in the mindset of buying Christmas socks specifically, or if you're within 36 days of Christmas. It's assume that. So if you send 100 people to your website and nobody buys, probably a good indication that you might have conversion rate issues. Now, if you send 100 people to your website from either organic or other searches as well, because you don't know the level of intent that typically are in, you don't necessarily know for a fact if that conversion rate is truly reflective of you had a high intent individual come to buy. So now I know I have an issue on my website. You don't know for sure, but Google search gives you a lot. As one example, gives you high intent individuals are typically looking to make a purchase. So now you have a better understanding. Do I have conversion rate issues on my site?
And so once that happens, and let's say you are not converting the people who are coming via ads, what is the next step then in that particular situation?
Yeah, typically you do an audit. So a heuristics analysis on the site, trying to figure out where the gaps are. You could put on some of those softwares where you track
a Hotjar.
Hotjar, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and see where there's issues. Like we have a client right now that just went through a complete overhaul of their sites, and we've been sending branded search traffic to their site, and you haven't had a conversion in 6 weeks. And we go, something's wrong, because a branded search, which means somebody who knows your brand, has typed into Google your staples, Some types in Staples and they come to Staples website and nobody's buying, something's typically wrong. And we actually went and did some deep dives into the site. We found some problems, some like big tech problems that would completely throw anybody off from the site. And the reason we could find that probably pretty quickly is because we sent enough traffic from Google search to now see, okay, this is abnormal. And I just have enough experience to know that this shouldn't happen for this period of time. Something bigger is happening there. So that's one example, but beyond just like problems, it's just a great channel to try to find more revenue, to try to grow. YouTube ads is part of Google ads as well. A great outreach to try to get some more brand awareness, stay on trend with the video. I'll also say to anyone out there as well, there's a misconception about LinkedIn ad is super expensive. It can be expensive, but if you're a B2B advertiser, the targeting you can do there is unparalleled to anything I've seen. It's really good. And you can target audiences down to job titles and you can filter out the ones you don't want. It's a really good platform for specific businesses, specifically for B2B. So I want to put that out there as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd heard that before. That's one of the questions that I was going to ask is like, what makes Google Ads unique compared to those other platforms? Is that where you would even say to start if you were an entrepreneur with a smaller budget? Like which platform is the best to get started?
Yeah, it depends on your business, honestly, because there's some times we get like a potential client that comes in and I'll just look them in the eyes and say, I don't think Google search is your starting point. You probably are better off starting off with paid social, Facebook, Instagram. I think this type of product would lend well there. If you get proof of concept on that platform, then I think you'd come over to the Google side and then we find some wins here. Depends on price point, the type of product or service you're offering. There's a few different variables in there, so it'd be hard to give a blanket answer. There typically is a platform that works better than others for each business, I should say. And yeah, Google is one of many channels that you could choose.
I'd love to know if you could tell us like who that was, not the business itself, but the type of business that you told them social was better than Google.
Yeah. So for example, we had a client that came over they sell like premium socks. They're a premium socks business and we've done enough apparel. Apparel is a tricky one because apparel, again, if you're typing in black pants or black flowy pants into Google search, you're probably looking at the Google shopping ads, so the visual ones that show up in the top there, and you're probably looking for the price points and the reviews on those. Or you could be going straight to Amazon and looking around at Amazon, which is quite common as well. But this business, they came and they asked us to possibly partner with them for their socks. And just because we've seen enough types of businesses like this, we recommended we have a presence on Facebook ad or Instagram or even Amazon. And they had no for all the above. And I said, hey, and we don't offer paid social, Facebook, Instagram, and Amazon as well. That's not our offer. We have a partner agency we work with that. I said, hey, I'm going to take my hat on this one. I know some agencies will just take your money and just run ads for a few months. I don't know if this is going to work here, but I know that if you get this to work on paid social, it probably will work here as well. Or we could find learnings from there that we could bring over here and try to launch campaigns here. So we respectfully walk away. We said, hey, that's probably a better approach. But that's one example of a product that just from experience, just the way socks and the price points and their visual, there's just more you can do on some of those social platforms when someone's scrolling their Instagram than you can necessarily do on at least right now, in the Google ecosystem.
One thing I learned from doing Facebook ads a couple of years ago was that the conversions will happen, but they tend to happen at volume, or that you had to get so many, I can't remember, I don't know my terminology with ads, but you had to get so many interactions before you could get a conversion. You had to get so many impressions and so many clicks, and then you got a conversion. And you could do that on a smaller budget, but it would take forever. So if you had a bigger budget, you could find it out faster. And that was really interesting to me, but it was also like, okay, is there a secret formula to knowing how much to spend and how quickly to figure out whatever it is you're trying to figure out about whether your product can convert?
Yeah, good question. I can't speak to the paid social, Facebook, Instagram side. I know that iOS 14 or the big update a couple years back completely uprooted their algorithms and their ability to target and their audiences. And we saw a bunch of clients get still affected by it, quite frankly. based on those changes. I can't speak to that side. I know on the Google side, that's a common question we get asked. Like, we have a number of small businesses are saying, okay, I want to enter this space. What do I need to invest? Again, this is a general rule, but we typically say around $100 per day at a minimum to start. What you're trying to do is we typically say within about 90 days, you want to have enough budget to run ads for 90 days, 3 months. 3 months gives you enough time to look at the variability of times of year within reason, weekends versus weekdays, time of day, and just optimize your campaigns to a point that by day 60 to 90, you're in the ballpark to know, are these ads or these campaigns even going to work? And by the 90-day mark, we typically say we should have a clue that these ads will work, or we are at least in the path that we can make this profitable. We want return on ad spend. So if you spend $1, we want to make sure you're getting back 2 or 3 or 4, right? For most businesses, you can't spend $1 to make $1 back. It doesn't work out. So you want to be able to see that you're going in that direction. And typically 90 days, most agencies will say around there is what you need to get enough data to make an informed decision that do we keep going or do we pull the plug, or we'll figure out what makes sense. So about $100 a day, 90 days, give and take is what you want to put aside as a rough estimate. But again, it really does vary by industry.
Yeah. And so I can imagine as a small business owner, it would be so scary to put that money out there and then see zero conversion. So is there a time period that you're like, okay, this isn't working at all? Or do you have to wait that full 90 days?
There is some preliminary research you can do in advance to have a clue that this probably won't work. So again, for example, if someone's been around different spaces and industries, and I give you the example about real estate, no matter who this real estate agent may be, no matter what they might say, if a real estate agent or broker comes to me and says, hey, I want to work with your team, we're going to say no, because we're being respectful for the fact that we've seen this a few times and we have not seen the numbers make sense and work out. But there are preliminary research that you can run and analysis you can do to have a clue if it might work, or specifically if it won't work. If you're in a very niche space that's looking to sell baby formula for, I don't know,
I was going to say, or wood letters. That's what I know.
Okay. Wood letters specifically for brown walls. I'm going to make that for wooden brown walls. They nail it in a specific way. It's a very niche market. You can do some quick keyword research and go, okay, there's 20 searches per month for that across the country, across the US. Okay. So if there's 20 searches per month total, what the chances are we're going to have enough volume here to make this work? Pretty low, because it's only 20 searches. It's maybe get 100 searches. So sometimes you can eliminate business off the hop. You can say your market doesn't go to Google to find this product. You have to go and find them. They may not even know that you offer wooden sides and they'd be interested in it, but you have to go and take a different approach. You have to go and say, where does this person shop? They typically go to retail stores that's focused on targeted women. There's a certain audience we can go after, or they go to Whole Foods or some stores like that. And we start saying, okay, can we build an audience around that type of audience and build a campaign to target that audience to say, okay, if they see our wooden signs, that audience will say, oh, this is something I'm actually interested in. And now we get them into our funnel. Now we target them and we try to get them to sell. But if we're trying to depend solely on Google search, that becomes a little bit more complicated to do because they simply don't go to Google search for this particular product.
That makes a lot of sense. And I have a question about the retargeting then, because say you have great SEO and you're driving people to a blog post or even a product page or collection page that is super specific and demonstrates intent. Can you retarget that particular page? Can you pixel people for visiting that page and then retarget them easily with Google Ads?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is the strategy then and the costs associated with doing that particular thing, is it the same as what you mentioned before?
It would be part of the entire strategy. So the $100 per day at a bare minimum, depending on the space, you would spend some of that on a search, but typically you would have some retargeted or a budget built into that as well. So you have to build up your retargeted audiences to minimum, depending on what platform you're on. It could be 100 people in the audience or 1,000 people in the audience. But once you get to those thresholds, then Google gives you the ability to retarget them as either through YouTube, through Gmail ads, through display ads that you're probably familiar with. There's different avenues you can take to retarget. And highly effective, again, because most people aren't going to a new brand they never met before the first time on their website, pulling up their credit card and buying. It just doesn't happen, or booking a demo. Just doesn't happen. So you want to retarget, and that would be built into that price point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have a funny random story. Just yesterday, I sell giant photo collages too. That's what I make. I'm an artist. And so I put people's pictures on top of these letters and numbers that I make, and they're expensive. And yesterday, someone bought one at $600, right? They happened to be a returning customer, which was great. But I was telling my son, and he goes, maybe you might want to lower your prices. And I was like, no, actually, I wouldn't. I want to show you real quick. So I do stuff like that. Like, made one for him every year on his birthday. But anyway, I just thought it was really funny because he's, maybe you should lower your prices. And I'm like,
No,
maybe I never will. I say that because I finally feel like I've gotten to the point where I have the margin to run ads. And I think that's something that's really important for smaller businesses to understand, because especially entrepreneurs, I know this isn't a problem that's unique to me. I've spoken to other business owners, and I have a friend who's built an entire business around educating women business owners, particularly about profitability. And if you don't have the margin, you don't have the funds to run ads. Have you run into that as well? So what happens? Tell us a story.
There is Austin and I speak about this as well, because Austin specializes a lot with e-com businesses, and we focus a lot more with lead gen advertisers, but we still have overlapped in some of that. And e-com, there's a number of, I think we had about $80, somewhere around there, which is around the sale price of a product. Somewhere around there is what we found to be about the sweet spot where you can make the numbers work. Again, going back to that socks example, if you're selling socks for $10, the numbers for what you just said get hard to make because there's only so much margin could be built into there. The cost the cost per click, the CPC on an ad, let's say, is $2.50. So if you got 4 clicks, you now be at $10. And then, so if you start doing the math, if you got 100 clicks at $2.50, then you're paying $250, $250, and you need to get how many sales of those 100 to get back your money. So $250, your socks are $10 a pop. You now have to sell 50 pairs of socks to make $500 and to make like 2x your return. Like, the numbers don't make sense. Like you just said, like, that is a big factor as well. Your price point of your service or offering doesn't matter if it's B2B, B2C, whatever. And if you have a service that you're offering, and we've had situations where landscapers work with us, and if you're a landscaper and you charge $20 per lawn, the numbers just don't make sense because you don't charge enough for that service. But if you are making chimneys, for example, and chimneys can be $5,000 or $10,000, okay, those numbers make a lot more sense. You don't need to sell a lot as much to make the numbers work. So you're completely right. What have you seen? Same question back to you. Are you seeing on the SEO side, do you find that price point's a big factor in terms of success?
Absolutely. And I just think it's important to understand what the numbers mean relative to each other. I really appreciate the fact that you guys have said, okay, we've looked at a lot of different products. $80 seems like a sweet spot for a comfortable return on investment or whatever, not to put too many words in your mouth. And I think with e-com, there's a lot of different terminologies that are thrown around, like conversion rate. And you mentioned this before, but like, conversion rate doesn't tell the whole story, because there's a difference between a conversion rate on a informational blog post versus a bottom of funnel product page. The problem is Shopify and your general platforms, they don't differentiate between the types of pages and your conversion rate, like the overall visitors to conversion percentage that you get. So there's a little bit more math to do there. So I feel like that's a thing that's missing in SEO, something that I really should probably create, but somebody's probably already working on it or got it, and I don't even know it exists. Finding the right numbers to understand like how to set a goal relative to your numbers, I think that is so key. And that's the challenge. Yeah. So that's where SEO, I feel like it doesn't tell the whole story, because it's just like anybody who starts out in SEO, the first thing you want to do is you want to drive traffic. that's when you know you're successful in SEO. You're like, look at all this.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, though, like I got like 1,000 times more traffic and I'm not making any more money. What's that? So it's like, is that SEO? Is that what we're supposed to be doing here? And it's like, no, it's these growth stages that people go through. How do I make it meaningful for my business? And it really comes back. This is a nice little tie up here because it comes back to setting a strategy and creating a plan. In my SEO group, I have a small group for business owners who are similar to me, solopreneurs, or they're the ones managing their website, or maybe they have a small team, but they want to understand what's going on with their website and search engine optimization and really optimization of all platforms, because that's what it's really coming down to. We talk about these things and I try to share with them like the whole picture. And it's not just, oh, I'm going to try ads or I'm going to try SEO. It's what's the goal? You have a goal for your business, either revenue or units sold or projects booked or whatever it is. Set that goal. And then let's break it down and figure out how we're going to get there, leveraging all of these amazing tools that are available to us.
And to add to what you're saying, I think that's going to be part of the future. It's the strategy. It's the cohesive strategy. Again, going back to the omni-channel piece. And even tell you, Crystal, the SEO piece, I think the value of SEO is going to continue to increase because right now, like when you think what Will Reynolds said in his keynote, he said that his site, I think he said look, I'm an SEO agency, so I appreciate that I'm telling this to you. He goes, my site has dropped in traffic, organic traffic, 41% year over year. But you're paying attention to some other channels. And goes, he looked at ChatGPT. I think that's what he looked at. I don't know if he mentioned Perplexity, but I know he said ChatGPT. And outgoing obviously is way lower, but that percentage increase is going up right now. And he's been tracking that his lead pipeline hasn't dropped. So the quality of those coming in from ChatGPT been better. They've been like good because, and you can imagine that would make sense how that experience would work if someone would break down like how ChatGPT or Perplexity would analyze and give you a bit more of a rich experience in terms of choosing the agency. It would feel more authentic than like just plopping it up on a Google search. And I'm not surprised that even organically, I'm not surprised there. Good organic presence. So ChatGPT or there's other AIs can find these businesses is going to be so important. That's my humble opinion on that.
It goes back to this concept of a knowledge graph in SEO because Google and Perplexity and Chat, all these out there, still just computers. They speak math and they can translate very quickly into something that human beings can understand, but they speak math. And what that essentially means is they are connecting dots all over the internet. I've never really said it out loud before, but that's essentially what I try to teach other entrepreneurs and what I like to share and have discussions about, because you've got to be able to connect those dots online in order to be found as the same you wherever you're at. And that be the major benefit of SEO and search, in my humble opinion, in the future, because when you can help those new engines connect the dots of who you are and build the knowledge graph around who you are, then you're going to show up in the search engines of the future because people are always going to search. They're going to have to search in some form or fashion. The question is just more of, can you be served up as a trustworthy result to answer the query wherever someone is querying what you have to offer?
Isn't that the truth? What's your prediction for 2025? Biggest change you're making for 2025, let's just say, based on your takeaways?
Oh my gosh. So this was something I wanted to tell you about the podcast and my services. So after speaking with you and just knowing that you guys did your strategic planning session, it inspired me. I was going to go to the San Diego Zoo. I stayed an extra day in San Diego and I got up early. I'm still on East Coast time. So I got up at 5:30 or 6 and got myself some coffee. I went to the beachfront over there in Seaport Village. And I have a GPT where I create brand guides. That's one of my offers. I'm going to do a brand interview with myself here on the beach, just looking over Seaport Village in the water. So people were running by and I was interviewing myself. I downloaded a software on my iPhone where I could read and record at the same time. And then I transcribed the video using Descript, my favorite software, which I talk about all the time. Used Descript, downloaded the transcript, uploaded it into my GPT, built a brand guide and a strategic plan for 2025 with all of those elements, and realized that even though I had positioned myself in my mind as a Shopify SEO expert, like I'm a Shopify partner, I'm a Wix partner in terms of building websites and doing SEO. How many podcasts do you think I've made out of over 150 podcasts about Shopify SEO?
One.
I think your first is right. I'm goose. I'm a goose. Yes. Because I love having conversations about things that support SEO. But as I was chatting with ChatGPT and creating this strategic plan, is okay, these are my goals. How am I going to get there? What should the lead magnet be? Chat gave me these great ideas. One of them was a audio series about Shopify SEO or transitioning from Etsy to Shopify. And I was like, oh, cool. Can I use some episodes I've already created to make this audio series? I'm like, oh, look at me. I'm already off to a running start. I was so excited and full of myself. And unfortunately, I didn't have any episodes. So I've got to go back and make those. And it was just such a, whoa. On my e-commerce side of my business, I've really got this strategy piece. I really understand the strategy piece about that. I'm executing that to the best of my ability with ChatGPT. But the strategy piece, I hadn't fully applied to the podcast. That's what I learned from you. And I wanted to say thank you because it's helping me for 2025. That's my major shift. And you helped me see that and put it into words and make a plan.
Hey, I'm glad. We're all trying to figure this thing out together. So I think you go to these conferences, you appreciate, we're all figuring it out. Nobody knows everything. And it's just the ability to bounce ideas off each other is the beauty of what we do right now.
I think you might have asked me this earlier. What did I take away from the conference? What I took away from the conference was this conversation that we're having right now. And when you and Austin were talking about this strategy session that you are having, like I took that away. And that had nothing to do with the conference. That had everything to do with talking to the right people at the right time to build a better business.
Keep doing them every year or whatever cadence works for you. This was not my own idea. This is Tim Ferriss' 4-hour work week. I read the book Tools to Tight Things, is the other one. And quick breakdown, like me and my wife started doing them years ago, like about probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. We did a couple of them ourselves. And then I branched off and started doing Austin because he's more in my space as well. But me and my wife did it for like planning our lives. We call it like healthy, wealthy, wise. We want to be healthy, we want to be wealthy, we want to be smart. And so we just planned out different things and just got better every single year. Imperfect, we're still imperfect. We're always going to figure it out. But I was like, hey, we're just improving. We just found we got gains every single year from doing it. So from a business perspective or even personal, highly recommend just take a little day for yourself. Plan and don't be too hard on yourself if you don't hit every single goal. The goal is simply just to move the needle a little bit and keep going. So I'm glad you took that. Run with it. It's amazing.
Yeah. One of my superpowers is getting good ideas from people and putting them into action. So I can't wait until I see you guys next year and I can share like the successes that I've had because of it. So that'll be something to look forward to. So back to you though. Where can people find you? And if they've resonated with you and said, hey, you know what? David sounds like the type of man that I would like to work with. How do they find you? Where's the best place to connect?
Yeah, so I'm just on LinkedIn and my website or emails. LinkedIn is probably the best spot to hit me up on there. So I'm not an X or Twitter or these other platforms. I'm an old school kind of guy. I don't do not much social media. So LinkedIn would be great. My website, you can put that in the show notes. I imagine devslove.com. Send me a quick note there or an email. So that would be the best channels.
Awesome. David, thank you so much. You were definitely a bright spot and a highlight of my Brighton SEO experience. And I think you can tell I'm not just saying that. Like it's so true. And I'm so excited to see what 2025 has in store for both of us.
Thank you for having me. And I want to say the exact same as well. I appreciate all your insight you shared to have me here. And the energy was contagious. And I'm excited we got to chat this out. I've been dying to chat this thing with somebody and just bounce these ideas off. So I appreciate so much as well. I look forward to chatting about next year.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. And guys, I will catch you next time.